Daern, Chapter 1, The Edge of the World, Part 4, Revo. "Mornin', Albert," Revo barked happily. Albert turned away from watching a group of men crawling out of a hatch set in the side of a copper tank. Revo's eyes widened. He had never seen so much metal. Not to mention such a strange shape. It looked like an overgrown gourd, with a wide, round body and a thin, straight neck. It was nearly as tall as 4 velos stacked up on top of each other. Albert grunted in Revo's direction. "What do you want? A little busy here." Revo's head slumped down and his tail drooped. What's biting his hide? Before he could even respond, Albert was already moving off, snapping at some children that were stacking wood against a wall. "Come on, I've told you before. Kindle in here, logs there." The children squeaked and scurried away like startled mice. Revo trailed in Albert's wake as he stomped deeper into the cavernous distillery. The group of men were now opening the hatch of a second tank. They crammed inside with fresh buckets of water and brushes. The sound of vigorous scrubbing soon emanated from within. "I was just wondering if you could," Revo began. Albert sighed as he approached a pile of burlap sacks, stuffed full of what Revo's nose could tell were juniper berries. "Look, Revo, it's been great showing you around the town and having you for first drink, but everyone's going to be busy with the harvest for weeks. Don't you have somewhere to be getting off to anyways? River's Crossing is a long way from here." "Actually, I was rethinking that a bit. You see, last night I heard that there was a void temple near here, and I was thinking of maybe taking a look." "Temple? Oh, you must mean Burnholm Monastery. Yeah, it's about 8-10 miles northwest. Sure, sounds great. Have fun. Say hello to the abbot for me." Albert turned away and opened one of the bags. He picked out a berry, crushed it between his fingers and sniffed it, nodding to himself. Revo stared at the old distiller for a few moments, snorted grumpily, and left him to his work. Well, he didn't tell me anything more than I knew last night. He wove his way out onto the street. Several carts were passing, all loaded with men heading towards the gate. Revo drifted along with them through the marketplace, like a leaf being pulled downstream. I guess I could just look for it myself. River's Crossing is an awful long way away. If I can learn what I need from here, I could get back sooner. But Anya told me I should go to River's Crossing. Maybe checking out the monastery isn't even worth it. Revo shuffled to the side of the street to let one of the larger wagons through. 2 young boys sat on the back of it, their short legs dangling in the air, pointing and waving at him as he passed. He glared in their direction. Hunter slay it. The harvest won't be in for days. Albert could have at least given me more specific directions. He padded along, doing his best to ignore the stupid faces the 2 children were now making at him. The wagon rolled to a stop, and Revo sauntered around it without even looking up. "Hey there, hold your horses. It will be a second before they clear this up," the guard on gate duty said. Revo stopped and saw that the exit was completely blocked by the wagon. "Really? Come on." His lips curled over one large fang, and the younger of the 2 boys withdrew his tongue in a hurry. He and his brother sat, fidgeting quietly and looking at their hands. "Oh, it's you. Revo, right? Sorry, my mind's a bit foggy, but I think we met last night," the guard said good-naturedly as the wagon threaded its way through the narrow gate. Revo stared at him blankly for a second, then recognized him as the man who had first mentioned the monastery to him last night. What luck! "Good morning to you," Revo replied. "I'm glad to see you up and about, Claude." Claude chuckled, massaging his temple under the heel of one hand. Yeah, me too. Got into a bit of a competition with that new bloke." Yes, glad you had fun. Hey, I'm actually glad I ran into you. You see, I was thinking of heading over to the..." Revo started, but apparently Claude didn't hear him. "I won in the end, of course, though my only prize is this headache. Ooh. Anyway, just glad that Peter gave up, or else I wouldn't have even made it here this morning." The wagons continued to pass through the gate without any supervision from him. "I'm sure everyone else is glad too, but I was wondering if you could please give me directions to the monastery," Revo said before Claude could interrupt him again. "The monastery? You know, it's funny you should mention that, 'cause just had one of them come through here. Ain't life funny that way? But as for the monastery, all you have to do is..." But this time it was Revo who was doing the interrupting. "Wait, someone from the monastery is here now, in town? Was it in Enieto? Where are they?" Yeah, he went to Sven's place, the Cooper. Hey, wait, he's probably busy, Claude called helplessly. Rivo had already ran off, darting through the market, his palms and feet slapping the cobbles with each bounding stride. It seemed luck really was on his side. He dashed down between two houses, his rapid footfalls mimicking the speed of his thoughts. Maybe I'll be back home before winter. Won't Shavisi be so surprised? That'll show him. That's Shaman Revo to you. He turned out of the narrow alley, his claws gouging grooves in the dirt as he swerved to avoid slamming snout first into a crate. He was fairly sure he knew where he was going. In a fit of hospitality, Albert had given him the grand tour of the village when he'd first arrived, during which he'd been invited to the first drink. I knew it was around here somewhere. He turned the corner, and there it was, a spacious stone cottage, to which an open-air workshop was attached. Two young men stood in the yard, stacking a newly made barrel in the corner. Upon his arrival at the end of the block, one nudged the other. They stopped and stared at the Velos. Revo took a few minutes to catch his breath, and calmly approached the house. He rapped his knuckles on the door, his tail twitching impatiently. A man answered. Hello. Now's not really a good... Good morning, Revo exclaimed. I heard that an Enietto was in town visiting you, and I was wondering if I could talk to him. Small wrinkles formed between the man's eyebrows. Maybe later. As I was saying, now is not a good time. He started to shut the door. Revo shuffled forward. Please, sir, it will only take a minute. The man gritted his teeth. Fine, I guess I'll ask him. He left down a short hallway and turned right as he entered the room at the end. Revo was left sitting on the porch. At the brief return of their master, the two apprentice Coopers had resumed their work with what, to Revo, seemed overzealous enthusiasm. Everyone's in a bad mood this morning. Revo perked up his ears as he heard the Cooper speaking quietly down the hall. Master Cusack, there's a Velos at the door here looking for you. A stern voice answered him. A Velos? I do not know any Velos. Are you certain that he is here for me? He seems eager to speak with you anyway. Cusack sighed and spoke in a somewhat gentler tone. I am very sorry about this. If you will give me just a minute, I will sort this out. Reva heard a woman sniffle. Okay, she said weakly. A figure turned out of the room and stomped its way up the hallway. The Enietto's face was unlike anything Revo had ever seen. His head was completely hairless. In fact, there were very few features at all. It was almost as if a human face had been smoothed out, leaving the angles soft and indistinct. His mouth was barely more than a thin gash. Where a nose should be, there was only a small raised bump, through which vertical slit-like nostrils had been cut. Strangest of all were the appendages growing out of the Enietto's face. Attached right beneath his cheekbones were 6 whisker-like organs, 3 on each side. The Enietto stopped in the doorway. What do you need? Revo hesitated for a second, still taking in the strange appearance. Hello, my name is Revo, and I've been sent forth from my tribe to seek knowledge about the Enietto, and learn how to use my... Hold on. Let us step out on the porch. Revo scooted back as Cusack came out and carefully shut the door behind him. Look, the Enietto said. I am kind of busy right now. Can this wait? Or perhaps I can give you directions to the Brynholm Monastery, and you can go there to get your questions answered. Why is everyone so busy today? Revo pressed on. The monastery is just one of the many things I want to ask you about. How big is it? What's it like to live there? How many books are in your... Cusack let out a soft hiss. The appendages on the side of his face flared out, and his mouth opened, revealing an astonishing number of sharp teeth. Revo was suddenly nervous. Shaman Anyar had said that the Enietto were related to humans, and he'd expected the family resemblance to be much more obvious, like the difference between a rabbit and a hare. He hadn't expected this strange creature, nor had he expected so many teeth. I'm sorry, Revo stammered. The eyes, he decided, were the most unnerving. Cusack's irises were as black as tar, and merged seamlessly with his pupils. Revo gulped as he saw his own nervous expression reflected in the Enietto's eyes. Cusack took a deep breath before speaking again, calmly and slowly. Do you know what a memory tablet is? Rivo was confused by the Agneto's sudden shift in demeanor, but said nervously, "No. The tablet contains the memories of a human's life, and when that human dies, we bring a copy of the tablet to their relatives. That is what I am doing here this morning. That is what you are interrupting." "Oh," Riva said, looking down and pawing at the old warped wood of the porch. "So, can you talk later?" Cusack studied him, and Riva wiggled uncomfortably under his scrutiny. "I do not know. The grieving process is different for all humans. Katrin wants to know about her father's last stay at the monastery and so forth. It is my duty to deliver the tablet, and see to it that the recipients are satisfied that the passing of the deceased was peaceful. I will take as long as is required to do this." "All right," Riva said. "Maybe I can find you after? Where are you staying?" "At Olga's tavern. Now go, so that I may get back to my duty." With that, Cusack turned and went back into the house. Riva wandered back through the town, frustrated that all his efforts had yielded so little. He still had no idea where the monastery was, or if it would even be worth visiting. "I just want some help. Is that too much to ask?" With nothing better to do, he figured he might as well just wait at the tavern. Thanks for listening to Daern, a story in progress. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And if you really enjoyed it, consider donating through Patreon. Any amount will go a long way towards helping us bring more content to you. Links to our Patreon and our website are in the description. See you next week, and have a good one.